Welcome to this video. Today, we're going to talk about 6 signs that show a woman sees you as a safe option, but doesn't truly desire you. There is a state in romantic relationships that is very hard to name. You're not being abandoned. She still texts you, still goes out with you, still stays. But somehow, you always feel like you're standing on the outside edge, like someone being kept, not someone being chosen. On the surface, everything seems fine. There's no drama, no arguments. But inside, you feel suspended, uncertain, and uneasy. You try a little harder, you become a little kinder, you show up a little more, and in return, you get stability but not desire. What exhausts you the most isn't that she leaves, it's that she doesn't exactly leave, but she doesn't move closer either. And then the questions start forming in your mind. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not enough? If you're in this state, the first thing I want you to know is this: I'm not judging you. And I'm not judging her. I simply want to look at what's happening for what it really is with a calm, realistic perspective. Because when you name the problem correctly, you stop feeling lost and you stop hurting yourself unnecessarily. Now, let's begin looking at 6 signs that show a woman sees you as a safe man. Number 1, she is not afraid of losing you. The first thing you need to face is very simple, yet often overlooked. Is she afraid of losing you or not? When a woman still feels desire, even a slightly longer silence than usual will register with her. She may not say it out loud, but questions will arise in her mind. She will notice. She will feel a mild unease. She will look for ways to reconnect, not because you're playing some clever game, but because emotionally, you are still something that could be lost. But when you've become safe, that reaction disappears. You go quiet, she doesn't ask. You pull back, she doesn't pull you in. Everything continues. Everything stays calm, but there's no counter-movement, not because she doesn't care, but because in her perception, you're not going anywhere. And when there's no fear of loss, emotions no longer need to hold on tightly. You're still important, but in a stable, familiar way, not in a way that makes someone feel the need to protect, worry, or hold on. Number 2, she talks to you about other men. The second sign usually appears soon after, and it's one that many men misunderstand. She starts telling you about other men, someone who texted her, someone who's flirting with her, someone who makes her feel conflicted or uncomfortable. The way she tells you is very natural, very relaxed, without avoidance, like how someone talks to a close friend. This isn't disrespect, and it's not because she wants to hurt you. It reflects one simple thing in her mind. You're no longer in a position that requires emotional boundaries. When a woman truly desires a man, she's usually very careful with stories like these. Not because of jealousy, but because she doesn't want to disrupt how she's seen in his eyes. When desire is present, she protects the image. When only safety remains, there's no reason to protect it anymore. You become the place where she vents, shares, and seeks comfort. And there's something very important you need to understand. Being trusted with someone's emotional unloading is not the same as being desired. This isn't your fault, and it doesn't mean she's a bad person. It's simply a sign that emotional investment has shifted quietly, subtly, and without drama. Number 3, she keeps you close, but without tension. There is a concept that is very often misunderstood in relationships, and that is tension. Many people hear the word tension and immediately think of arguments, control, or toxic push and pull games. But the tension I'm talking about is not drama. It's not about making the other person anxious or insecure. It's the feeling of force between 2 people, the sense that your presence changes the atmosphere. When a woman is still attracted, there are always moments of weighted silence between the 2 of you, eye contact that lingers a little longer, pauses where nothing needs to be said, yet connection is still felt. A very subtle sense of anticipation, hard to name, but instantly recognizable if you've ever experienced it. When you become safe, this fades very slowly, not overnight, but bit by bit. Eye contact shortens, silences become empty, conversations still happen, but what remains is comfort, politeness, and familiarity. And many people mistake this for a more mature relationship. The truth is, affection may still be there, fondness may still be there, but desire has quietly withdrawn. Tension is the bridge between closeness and craving. When that bridge disappears, 2 people can still stand side by side, but no longer feel the pull to move closer. Attraction doesn't survive on absolute stability. It needs a bit of space, a bit of energy that hasn't been fully explained yet, and when everything becomes too clear, too safe, too predictable, attraction quietly fades even when no one did anything wrong. Number 4, she refuses you very easily. There is a subtle sign that reveals a great deal, and it lies in how she turns you down. Not the fact that you're refused. Everyone has moments when they're busy or don't want to meet. The issue is the feeling that follows. When a woman is still afraid of losing you, a refusal usually comes with an explanation, or at least an effort to make up for it. She'll give a reason, suggest another time, or make sure you still feel important. But when you've become safe, everything becomes very clean and simple. You invite her, she declines. No long explanations, no guilt, no attempt to preserve the connection. Not because she's cold, but because in her perception, this bond isn't at risk of breaking. You'll still be there, even after being turned down. And this creates a very subtle emotional power imbalance. The person who isn't afraid of losing has more room to decide. The person who is afraid of losing is always the one weighing things carefully. In many cases, you don't even realize which side you're standing on. You stay polite, you stay understanding, you accept it, and in doing so, you unintentionally confirm that she doesn't need to hold on to you. There's no right or wrong here. It's simply that when someone knows for certain the other person won't leave, they don't feel the need to pull them back. At that point, refusal stops being a situation and becomes a quiet, familiar habit. Number 5. She comes to you when she needs you, not when she wants you. This is the part that hurts many people the most, because it's not loud, not obvious, but it lasts a long time. She doesn't disappear completely, but she doesn't actively choose you either. She comes to you when she's sad, tired, or needs someone to listen, someone to be there. You're the one she texts late at night, the one who understands her best, the one who's always present when her life falls out of rhythm. But when she feels better, happier, or has other options, you're pushed out of the priority zone. This places you in a deeply uncomfortable position. You know you matter, yet you're never the first choice. You become emotional support, a safe place to land, not the one who is desired. And what makes this dangerous is that this role is often given to good men. Men who know how to listen, who are patient, who knows how to stay. Not because they are weak, but because they feel responsible for other people's emotions. And that very willingness makes them easy to place in a position that doesn't require choosing. You give consistent presence, stable care, and unconditional understanding. In return, you receive the feeling of being needed but not being chosen. And the longer you stay in this role, the harder it becomes to leave because you've already invested too much emotion, too much time, and too much hope that things will eventually change. You start convincing yourself that if you just try a little harder, be a little better, stay a little more patient, she'll see you differently. But emotions don't work that way. Desire doesn't grow from endurance. It doesn't increase just because you stayed long enough. And this is the hardest part. You didn't do anything wrong, but you're no longer in the right position. You're stuck between two states, close enough not to leave, but not far enough to be chosen. Number 6. She calls you a good man. There's a sentence that sounds very gentle, yet for many men, it feels like a full stop. You're a good man. When they hear it, many men try to comfort themselves by thinking it's a compliment that they're respected, valued, and appreciated. But if you look at it calmly, you'll see that this sentence isn't about desire, it's about safety. It isn't meant to hurt you, and it isn't dishonest. It's simply the gentlest way to place you into a position that no longer carries the weight of choice. When a woman truly desires a man, she rarely uses moral or character-based labels to describe him. Desire doesn't need certification as good. It only needs to be felt. When romantic emotion has stepped back, people begin to talk about qualities, values, and about being worthy of someone else. This doesn't make women bad, and it doesn't make you a loser. It simply shows that two very different emotional layers are operating. One layer is fondness, respect, and gratitude. The other is desire, attraction, and these two don't always coexist. The calm truth that needs to be said is this: women don't miss out on the men they truly want. If desire is strong enough, they find ways to keep him, not ways to praise him safely. If you've listened this far and recognized yourself in what was said, the most important thing I want you to understand is this: there is nothing wrong with who you are. You're not lacking value, you're not good enough, and you haven't lost to anyone. You're simply in a position that has left your emotions suspended for too long. And when you're in that state, it's very easy to blame yourself, to wonder what you need to fix, what more you need to do to keep the other person. But there are things that cannot be fixed through effort. There are positions that cannot be changed simply by staying longer. Instead of asking, how do I make her choose me, a more necessary question might be, why am I still here, even though I already feel I'm not being chosen? That question isn't meant to push you into action right away, and it's not meant to force a quick decision. It's meant to help you look directly at a reality you've been avoiding, because when you clearly understand where you stand, you no longer have to struggle in uncertainty. And in the next video, I'll talk about the deeper reasons why so many men remain in this state longer than they should.